Good morning and welcome to another episode of Cape Fear Coffee and Comics, where I, Nick of Port City, have some good coffee and read some comics. This morning I've read and I'm going to be reviewing part 7 of 9 for the Death Spiral story arc and the different Spider characters, Venom and Spider-Man, as well as Eddie Brock Carnage. And issue 26 of Amazing Spider-Man is that Lee Bermejo Amazing Visions cover. So I'll talk about that. And this amazing piece of masterpiece, which is Web of Venom, issue number 1. Let me tell you, Morris Ross, Rosanos, etc., like all went off on this. I'll talk about this first. So this is not Eddie Brock. This is not any other incarnation of Venom that you would expect. And in fact, spoiler alert, this is not Venom at all. There could be some things related going on to like some bigger arcs at some point, but more so, this is a big head. There's a lot of head faking going on. There's even some head faking at the beginning of this issue, because it starts off with the character you're seeing right here already in action, but you come to find out that there's a street level person trying to turn a new leaf, and if you don't want to know who that is, turn away now. It's Fred Meyer's Boomerang. After losing his buddy Herman, the Shocker, who's passed recently, is trying to do better for himself and is living kind of a normal life. I'll show you. I don't want to give away anything crazy, but, you know, just trying to live a normal suburban life. But, you know, Boomerang's become like a fan fave in recent times with everything that happened during Blood Hunt and him getting killed by a vampire, being brought back by his buddy Herman, and then not being able to save Herman. I mean, he's really just had a lot happen. And essentially what's going on is Tombstone is providing enhancements with technology, other forms of giving powers and symbiotes, etc., to these different street level baddies, to essentially shore up his operations better, like make them owe him and work for him. But Fred's not really about that. He doesn't even want the enhancement. He's just there looking out for Overdrive while he's having something going enhanced, and some things go haywire. And there was a symbiote called Passenger that's in a jar that's been there for like 200 years, which I will show you does not look like what you see on the cover. That's the last thing I'll show you on the inside. But these two bond. Fred's apprehensive about it, but the symbiote's really good-natured and is down for if Fred wants to continue his kind of nonviolent, petty crime kind of lifestyle while living in the suburbs, as long as they could just have some, you know, lighthearted, fun adventures, you know, from time to time too, and also be able to step in to keep him safe and keep his buddies safe if anything goes down. Well, some things definitely go down because he's got to rescue some other another band of freaks that have all been enhanced, and there's some interactions with an Avengers member, and it was just a really cool like action sequence to then, as he kind of makes it away from all of that, another group of very powerful magic-based characters have come looking for him, and it kind of seems like they're wanting his help for something. I don't really know what's going on with that, but there's a big cliffhanger at the end of this. But this was like such a fun, fresh breath of air for like a new symbiote character, which, again, spoiler alert, is going to be called Comeback, because this is Fred Meyer's comeback in a big freaking way, and this is a big Boomerang year. We've got Boomerang taking the forefront in this, and he's going to be on the big screen, at least some degree from what we've seen with the trailers for Born Again. So can't wait to see how that pans out in film as well as the story pans out. I hope that this character stays this way for years to come, even if it kind of changes back to looking more like maybe what Fred's suit looks like, or looks more like what the symbiote's color scheme looked originally. Or even if it stays this way, I'm fine with any of those. It does make sense as to why he chose to make the suit look like this. Now going on to Amazing Spider-Man issue number 26. Great kind of in-between story, even though there's some stuff that happens because Torment and Carnage are now merged. There's some things as far as like how Torment wants to approach things and how Carnage wants to. Carnage wants to like terrorize, and he wants to unalive and hear screams and all that horrible stuff, while Torment kind of wants to silence things. I mean, they really have two different styles. So I imagine that they're not going to stay together eventually. And we only have a couple of more issues left of the story arc. I think we've got the next issue of Venom and then the body count issue. That's a little bit of I think a prequel backstory to Torment. But this has been a really fun story arc. If you're wanting to get into kind of what's going on with characters now, you could pick up with the beginning of the Death Spiral story arc and then just read going forward. Because I mean, it's a lot to catch up with ASM if you want to go all the way back to issue 1 here. But there's a lot of space-based stuff, a lot of stuff going on with Norman Osborn filling Spider-Man's shoes before we got into Death Spiral, which Norman will continue as kind of a protagonist in the kind of Spider-Man Academy kind of story. I forget what that's called, where he's going to be like man in the chair for a bunch of other Spider characters. The space-based characters, hopefully they still show back up. But you don't have to get through all of that or necessarily have read I really feel like if you want to know everything that's going on, read Venom War, read I would say read Venom War, then pick up with part 1 of Death Spiral, and then read going forward, and you would know pretty much everything that's going on. But really fun story, and I'll say the thing that's been great about these Spider characters period is new characters. Torment was a new villain and has worked out really well. Come back as a new symbiote, potential hero-ish, and that is going to quickly become my favorite of the symbiote characters because that was such a fun issue. But that's it for me. We'll see you guys next time for another episode of Coffee and Comics. Cheers.